In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the Lord of the world, we thank Him, we adore Him, we glorify His holy name for His mercy and blessing on each and every one of us. We seek His mercy and blessing on the rare and soul of His Messenger, Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May the peace and blessing continue to be upon His household, His companion, and all the Muslims to the day of Qiyamah. Inshallah, our class continues today. We are still with our book Kitabu Tawhid by Sheikh Al-Fawzan. Last week we started the 4th chapter, which is the chapter that is talking about An-Nifaq, Ta'rifuhu, Anwa'uhu. So it's talking about hypocrisy, the definition and the types of hypocrisy. So last week we actually talked about the definition, the meaning, and that the word it is derived from the word nafaqo, and nafaqo literally it means a burrow or a tunnel in the soil that have two outlets. So there are some animals that they make tunnels. Their tunnels have two outlets, and the reason why they do so is that when danger is coming from one direction or from one part of the tunnel, they will be able to escape from the other part. So, and when it's coming from the other part, they'll be able to escape from the first part. And the reason why this word is actually applied to the individuals that have this kind of behavior is because of their assumption of their behavior. When some people believe that they can be protected by pretension or by pretending to be what they are not. In other words, when they were among the Muslims, so their cases is just like that of the animals, the desert lizard that we just mentioned, or sand lizard that have burrows or tunnels that have two holes. So their own behavior, their own characteristic is also like that. They belong to two. They actually belong to one particular group, but they pretend to belong to the other group. In other words, when one place has danger, or they assume there's a danger from somewhere, they will attach themselves to the other group. And when they see they think the first group or the other group is also dangerous, they will denounce and go to the other group. So this is how they resemble this particular concept of having two outlets from a tunnel. And this nifaq, we mentioned that it's of two types by the classification of the ulama. So we have nifaqul i'tiqadi wa nifaqul amali. So we can also call it nifaqul akbar wa nifaqul asghar. So nifaq can be major or minor. It can be the one that has to do with our belief system, or it has one that has to do with what? Action. The one that has to do with the belief system is the one that takes somebody out of Islam. Anybody that have nifaq, in fact, essentially anybody that have nifaqul i'tiqad, he is a kafir. So like we mentioned, the reason why he is referred to as Munafiq is because of the manner in which he exhibits his own nifaq. Otherwise, he's also a kafir. Because a kafir is somebody that disbelieves in Allah and His Messenger, or that believes in the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a Munafiq. That Munafiq actually disbelieves in Allah. But he pretends to be a Muslim because of some reason. Sometimes for protection, to protect himself. Sometimes to harm people for whom he is hiding his belief from. And that is the case of the Munafiq of the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like we mentioned last week. That their intention actually was to harm Islam, was to harm Muslims, was to destroy Islam from inside. You see, when you are outside, you want to attack, you want to harm something, sometimes it is not very easy. Unlike when you are part of the what? When you are part of the group or when you are part of the system. And this is actually their intention. And this kind of nifaq, it is something that takes somebody out of the fold of Islam. Anybody that has that kind of nifaq, he is already out of Islam. And also, there is nobody apart from Allah and His Messenger that can categorically name or label somebody as a munafiq from nifaqul i'tiqadi. So you cannot say, based on your action, you are declared a munafiq. No. Even during the time of Prophet Muhammad, even though all the Sahaba, they know and they understand and they see their sign, but yet nobody declared them a munafiq except in rare circumstances and cases when they exhibit such kind of behavior. What I'm saying in essence is that when you see somebody that exhibits a quality of a munafiq, So if he or she has not mentioned to you that I'm a Munafiq, so you cannot have any evidence or a basis to mention or to declare him as what? As a Munafiq. Because like we said, Nifaq is actually what? Kufru. And the law, the ruling of declaring somebody a kafir in Islam, it has basis, it actually has procedure. So one of the procedure is that you must see the person carrying out the act of kufru. Even when he carries out of the kufru and you witness it, you observe it, it is still not enough for you to declare him as kafir. You have to do what is called what? Iqamatul Hujjah. Or if it's somebody that have problem with his belief system, you have to do Izala to Shubat. Probably he has confusion or there's a problem with his belief system. So you have to clarify matters. You have to make him to understand and you have to give him evidence from Quran and Hadith. Until after that, when the person now insists that this is what I want to do, then such a person will be what? Declare a kafir. Even when he's a kafir or when it's established as a kafir, you have to weigh declaring a kafir publicly and not declaring a kafir publicly. You have to weigh it. So if somebody is a kafir or is a munafiq and is nifaq, generally munafiq, they don't have any benefit. They can never benefit you. Because the reason why they are hiding their nifaq or their kufru is because they want to harm you. Kufar, or somebody who is a kafir and declare his kufru, is far better than a munafiq. Because sometimes, if not for some reason, they may not have any problem with you. They may not have any problem with your belief. They may not even have any reason to fight you. Sometimes they can even protect you. But a munafiq will never protect you. A munafiq will never wish good for you. A munafiq will never want you to be successful, like the case of the Yahud. So where we have gone actually is that you cannot declare somebody a munafiq just by observation. So it has procedure that to be followed. So the second category or the second type of nifaq is the one that has to do with our actions. And this one, almost majority of people, especially in this our time, fall into it. Like we mentioned last week that there's an hadith of Prophet Muhammad that said there are 3 signs of the munafiq. In another one he said there are what? 4 signs. So if you have not committed one of these, 4 of these, in one way or at one time or the other, you must have what? You must have committed one. He said when he speaks, he does what? He lies. So the second one is that when you entrust something to him, he breaches the trust. And the third one is that when he make promise, he breach promise. So can anyone among us beat his chest that I have never breached a trust, I have never breached a promise, or I have never lied? Is there anybody who can do that? Is there anybody who can do that? So which means in one way or the other, we have exhibited quality of munafiqun. But that does not mean somebody who committed that kind of action has become a munafiq or has become a kafir. So what we are saying actually is that somebody who exhibits the quality of a munafiq but is not munafiq by his creed is still a Muslim. Nobody can declare him a kafir. However, that thing is a major what? Is a major sin. You know, there is a difference between committing kufru and committing what? A major sin. So anybody that commits major sin, if you die without being forgiven, it means Allah will punish you on the day of Qiyamah. Or you'll be punished here in this world before you die, or you'll be punished in the grave. So in any case, whether the Akbar or Asgar, they are dangerous. None of them is. Because anything you are going to be punished for by Allah is not something simple. The only difference between Akbar and Asgar is that for the Akbar, they are going to be in hellfire forever. Not only ever, they are going to occupy the worst place in the hellfire. Innal munafiqina fi darkil asfal. So they are going to be. So that's the difference. But for the minor or the one that has to do with action, even when you exhibit or you commit it, that does not mean you are free from what? You are free from sin or you are free from being punished. No. You will be punished in this world if you did not seek for forgiveness, or Allah will punish you on the day of Qiyamah if you die on it. And this nifaq we have mentioned last week, we also mentioned that Quran describes them in different ways. Before we go to the description, there are some observations that are made by some scholars, especially with regard to the verses of the Quran that talk about the munafiqun. If you study the verses or the surah where Allah talk about the munafiqun, you will observe one major thing. What is that thing? The thing you will observe is that any surah where Allah talk about munafiqun, either inside that surah or the surah that surround it, Allah will be talking about women. Any surah that talk about what? Munafiqun, or the surah that surround that surah, it is what? It will surely talk about what? About women. So about 28 different surah in the Quran talk about munafiqun. The first surah where Allah talk about them is what? Is Surah Al-Baqarah. So that was the first time. And when the surah is going to talk about them, it make use of one of the devices or one of the tools Quran use to expatiate the message, and that is use of what? Masal. The masal is used when you want to explain something that is ambiguous or something that cannot be easily understood. You see, like we always mention in some of our discussion is that so Quran uses some devices to expatiate the message. One of it is what? Is using stories of people of the past. He uses cases, isn't it? So sometimes he uses the sign of Allah in nature, Al-Kawn. So sometimes it uses masal. And all these three things we mentioned, they are used at the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah. The first time Allah used masal is about the munafiqun. If you look at the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, which is introduction to the Quran itself, introduction to Baqarah and introduction to what? To the whole Quran. It describes or it classifies people into two and into three. So the first one had what? Al-Muttaqun or Al-Muminun. And the second one is what? Al-Kafirun. And the third one is what? Al-Munafiqun. So the description or the description of the Muminun in Surah Al-Baqarah is just 5 verses. The first 5 verses. And the second one is just 2 verses. The 6th and the 7th verse. But for the Munafiqun, from the 8th verse to the 28th verse of Surah Al-Baqarah is talking about them. Why? Because themselves they are what? They were complex. So the Quran described them extensively in the complex manner. And not only they are complex, if you look at the masal that is used to describe them, is one of the most complex masal in the Quran. He said, "Mataluhum kamathalil ladzi istawqada nara, falamma adaa'at ma hawlahu, dhahaba Allahu bi nurihim wa tarakahum bi dhulumatin la yubsirun. Summun bukumun humyun fahum." Is there anybody who can explain that masal among us? This is a masal. This is an analogy. It's a parable. Is there anybody who can explain this masal for us? Anybody? Can anybody explain this masal? Is there anybody among us? Yes, you want to explain? What is the explanation? What's the understanding of this masal? Before you go, let me give you some tips. You see, when Quran is using masal or is giving us masal, Quran is not using masal out of nothing. What I mean is that it will have what it represents, and what it represents will have meaning on its own. For example, same Surah Al-Baqarah, when Allah says, "Mathalul ladhina yunfikuna amwalahum fi sabilillah kamathali ambatat fi kulli sumbulatin." Now, Allah is describing people, human beings, isn't it? By relating them to what? To grain, to stock, or to crops of grain. So what does that crops of grain and what of the stock or what of the grain represent in the life of the mu'min? So the same thing here when he's talking about what? The Munafiqun. All those signs Allah actually give represent something, and it carry very deep and insightful messages, if only we understand. Why is their case different? The reason why it is different is that themselves they are complex. So before we go there, actually I said any surah where Allah talk about the Munafiqun, either that same surah or the surah that surround it, we talk about who? Yes, sir. Why is that so? Why?
Because of their tricky nature.
Who is tricky?
The
female. What's your evidence that they are tricky? What is the evidence? I didn't say. Just give me the evidence. Well, is it Allah? Okay, when Allah is in that is Allah is reporting Azeez, isn't it? So it is not. It's not the direct speech of Allah, but it is a report. And let's assume that statement is true. If you say inna kaida kunna azim, with regard to who? The kaid of Nisa is great.
Yes.
With in comparison to whose kaid? No.
The Sheikh,
No.
No, with regard to men's in the case. No.
With regard, it's comparing them to what? To men. Okay, you see, the greatest kaid and the most complex kaid is kaid of Allah Himself.
Yes.
Inna kaidi matin. But when Allah is describing the kaid of shaitan, He said, Inna kaida shaitan. So the only comparison of kaid should be the comparison between the kaid of Allah and the kaid of shaitan. That's the only point of comparison. But about the kaid of women, actually, if He says it's great, the greatness actually sometimes may not be to harm. Even in that surah, in Surah to Yusuf, when Allah is talking about kaid of Nisa, the intention of Abdulazeez was not to harm Yusuf. It's just for our own advantage. But even though Allah did not describe the kaid of men as Azeez, but it's most dangerous. If you look, the beginning of Surah to Yusuf actually talk about kaid of men. And he talked about kaid of men as what? As being dangerous. Even if he didn't tell us dangerous, look at the kaid of men of brother of Yusuf to Yusuf. But what was the kaid of the wife of Azeez to Misra to Yusuf? Was it to her? It was just for our own advantage. The only thing is that when the team want to turn upside down, she has to put the blame on Yusuf. But the reason why we have actually digressed is because somebody said because women are very tricky. Of course they are tricky, and in most of the cases where they are tricky is also to benefit themselves. Even men are also tricky, and the tricks of men is to harm in some cases, like we have seen the case. But the reason why the Quran or why any surah where their cases are mentioned always talk about women is because one of the area where the Munafiqun they exploit extensively and they always make use of is the case of women. One of the area where shaitan used effectively in order to destroy us or to cause harm to us is the case of women. If shaitan want to destroy a society, anybody want to destroy a society, just attack the women, just destroy the women of that society. You are done with that society. And if you want to reform a society, if you want to make a society to be a better place, just reform the women of that society. So either from home or from any society. Any problem we are having in society, even the Prophet he said it. He said, oh, the first problem with the Banu Israel was from where? From women. So and the women that has problem, they have to be the source of problem is from where? It's actually from the Munafiqun. They exploit that area because they know women by their heart they are weak. They can easily be what? Deceived. So somebody who can be easily deceived and somebody who cannot be easily deceived, which of the two do you think will be more tricky? Somebody who can easily be deceived and somebody who cannot be easily deceived, who can be more tricky?
The one that is not easily to.
So you can see. So the reason why actually the Surah Quran talk about the women I mentioned is because the Munafiqun they exploit that area. They make women to be the means of destroying anybody or any society. If it is a personality they want to destroy, they use women. If it's a society, they use women. If it's a system, they use women. And that is the reality of our society today. And that is what is happening in our society today. So now the quality of the Munafiqun, like we mentioned, the surah where they are mentioned actually many. And their quality are also many in the Quran. So the first quality, like we mentioned, starts from the Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah said, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا. Oh, this is their first quality. Their first quality is that they are deceptive in nature. So anybody who have intention of deceiving you can never benefit you. If he benefits you, that is by mistake. If I want, even that deception is a harm. Anybody who stands to deceive, it means that person is not trustworthy, and it will never be trustworthy. If you deceive, and one of the things Allah hates most is deception. One of the things Prophet Muhammad hates most is deception. So one of the sin or crime you will commit, and you will see the response or the reaction of Prophet Muhammad with immediate effect. And Prophet will not change until he sees that you have what? You have turned over a new leaf. Is when you lie or when you deceive. And when somebody lies or he deceives, there are angels of Allah that Allah have sent to be protecting us. The angels themselves, they will take their distance, they will keep their distance from you for almost a mile away from you. Apart from the angel that documents your deeds. Apart from the angel that documents your deed, the angel that Allah have sent to protect you, immediately you lie, they will distance themselves from you. So you can see how dangerous the issue of deception and lying is. And the first quality about the Munafiqun, Allah says is what? They are deceptive. They deceive Allah and those who believe, but they are not deceiving anybody except who? So in Surah An-Nisa, Allah says, "Innal munafiqina yukhadi'una Allah wa huwa." So the Munafiqun, in their own estimation, in their own assumption, they are deceiving Allah. But it is actually Allah that what? That deceives them. But doesn't mean Allah deceives? Allah doesn't deceive. When Allah says it is Allah that deceives them, that is literally meaning. What does that mean? What is the meaning of that? Innahum yakiduna kaida wa akidu kaida. So does it mean Allah is carrying out kaid, especially negative kaid? No. When Allah says wa huwa qawdihum, the meaning of that verse is that, and any verse that related to that, is that you see the way Allah created this world, like we mentioned or we have been mentioning, is that there is always law that guide everything. Everything has some laws that they follow. There are some others that everything follow. And everything has consequences or results. There's absolutely nothing that doesn't have consequences. So when Allah says He's the one deceiving, it means the Lord Allah is actually watching them. So you can't deceive Allah. So you are doing this and there are consequences for it. But you are not aware. So which means there is going to be consequence for your action. Then who is going to fail? And in your intention, who do you think you are deceiving? Allah. An example of such is that of case of Fir'aun. Fir'aun, he was actually running after Musa and his people in order to what? To destroy Musa and Banu Israel. But little did Musa and Banu Israel, little did they know that Fir'aun was running to his destruction. If Fir'aun himself knew that he was running to his destruction, would he have run after Prophet Musa? He wouldn't have. And that is the example of what Allah is saying. So now they think they want to harm Prophet Musa, but they are harming themselves. That their action is a harm to themselves. So the Munafiqun, they thought they were deceiving Allah, but that their actions is what? It has consequence. And that applies to every single action of ours. If you think you are smart, if you think you can lie, if you think you can act, if you think you can sin, if you think you can offend or violate somebody's rights, and there will be wallahi. In fact, to you to assume or to behave or to act as if there is not going to be consequence, wallahi, is a greater sin than the sin you commit yourself. It means it's either you have created another Allah for yourself or another Ilah for yourself in your heart. If you think that, and that is what we have just said now, that is the whole case of Yawmul Qiyamah. Yawmul Qiyamah is no more than that. It's no more than reward and what? And punishment. That is all about Yawmul Qiyamah. And that is the reason why, if there is nothing like reward in the day of Qiyamah, what we are doing in this world will not make any sense. In fact, everything that is happening in this world will not make any sense. It will not be reasonable. It will not be sensible. Some people are violating law of Allah and they are still making progress in this world. Some people they are keeping the law of Allah, but they are still having some problem in what they are struggling with life. Then you say there's no reward, there's no punishment, there's no consequence. Then it will not make any sense. The only time it will make sense is when we understand that, and that is the only time when people will be cautious. When people, they will be what? They will take caution. They will not behave anyhow. That if I do this, a time is coming when I will be what? I either be rewarded or punished. And that is why when Allah, the first time Allah talked about the day of Qiyamah in the Quran, the first time Allah talked about it, you know it has a number of names. The first name Allah calls is what? Yawmuddin. Adinu means recompense, reward. So if all other names we use to refer to Yawmul Qiyamah, they come under where? Adin, Yawmuddin. If you call it Yawmul Qiyamah, it's because of the long standing for a very long period of time. So when we wake up to pray in the night, they call the night prayer, they call it what? Why did they call it Qiyamul Layl? Why not Salatul Layl? Why not Qira'atul Layl? Why? Because you stand very long. Qiyamul Layl, you are supposed to recite for very long period of time. You stand for very long. So that's the same reason you call the day of Qiyamah Yawmul Qiyamah, because of that long standing. So many of the characteristics of Yawmul Qiyamah, names of Qiyamah, are actually due to some of the quality of the day. But the original name, or the name that generalize or combine all other names, that's a universal name for it, is what? Yawmuddin. Because that is the purpose of the day actually. So you are standing because you are waiting for your what? For you to be recompensed. You will pass through all the stages because you want to be what? Recompensed. It's actually a day of recompense. So now, when Allah says He is the one that deceives them, so it does not actually mean deception, because Allah doesn't deceive. Why will Allah deceive? For who? For what? Allah doesn't deceive. But the meaning is that the law of Allah is trailing behind them, so they are not aware. Just like Allah said, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ آمِنُوا كَمَا آمَنَ النَّاسُ قَالُوا أَنُؤْمِنُ كَمَا آمَنَ السُّفَهَاءُ أَلَا إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ السُّفَهَاءُ وَلَكِنْ. But they don't suspect. They don't feel it. They are not aware of the fact that they are the sufaha. So that their failure to be aware, that is the reason why Allah says He is the one deceiving them, because there is a law that follows them that they are not even aware of. Which means a reward is coming, a punishment is coming, a consequence is coming for their action. So the next verse, Allah says, يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ. They are not deceiving anybody except themselves. You can now see in that verse, Allah says, وَهُوَ what? وَهُوَ خَادِعُونَ. He is the one deceiving. Here Allah says, وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا. They are only deceiving themselves. So when Allah says He is the one deceiving them, the meaning is that the law of Allah is systematic. Allah is logical. Allah creates everything with reason, and it has basis and it has logical explanation. So Allah has given law to everything. Now when you commit this or when you violate this law, there will be a consequence for it. So which means they are deceiving themselves, they are not deceiving anybody. So the way it is related to Allah is actually that Allah is the one that makes the law. Just Allah say, وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ. Does that mean when you commit sin or when you violate the law of Allah, it is Allah that has to do it? But why did Allah say is the one, whatever happens, it is His will? Why? The meaning is that in the first place, when Allah is creating the world and this world and all the law that guides it, or under the law in which it operates, if Allah intends to create it in a way that is different from that, Allah will have created it. Allah knows what is going to happen before He creates it, but He is not the one that asks people to commit the sin they are committing. So like Allah said, Lahul Khalqu wa Lahul Amr. He is the one that creates, and He is the one that gives the law that every creation follows. He is the one. So if I'm the one that creates, I'm the one that gives follow, and I know what is going to happen even before it happens, it means that is my choice. It means that is the way I want to do it. If I want to do it in a way different from that, I will have done it. Just like Allah told Prophet Muhammad that Prophet should not be disturbed by the foundation of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah actually wants everybody to be guided, Allah, nobody will be misguided. Allah will force you to be guided. Just like the angel. Angels by nature, they don't have capability to disobey Allah. Not that they don't even know how to disobey Allah. Unlike we human beings. We have capability to obey and disobey. But for the angels, they don't even know how to disobey. Some of them, Allah created them for rahmah. They always want you to be forgiven. They only want Allah's rahmah for you. They don't know how to punish. Some of them, Allah created them for azab. They don't even have rahmah. They don't have mercy. Like the angel of hellfire. That one, he doesn't know anything mercy. That's where Allah created them. So they cannot act otherwise. So Allah said, Allah said, fi kulubihim maradun fazadahumullahu marada wa lahum adhabun alim bima kanu yakfurun. So you can now see when Allah says yukhadi'un Allah walladhina amanu. Here Allah says wa lahum adhabun alim bima kanu, because of the deception, because of the lie, because of the falsehood in which they engage in. That is that where their own sin is going to be adhabun what? Alimu. Compare the punishment Allah mentioned to them here with the punishment Allah mentioned about the kafirun. How did Allah describe the punishment of the kafirun? Adhabun azim. But for the munafiqun, adhabun alim. What's the difference between adhabun azim and adhabun alim? When they say adhab is alim, is painful, is there any punishment that is not painful? Is there any punishment that is not painful? Just like when we say a fire is hot. When they mention fire, what is the first thing that comes to your sense?
Hotness.
Heatness, or hotness rather. Now they are now telling me this is a hot fire. As if it's telling you that it is not the same heat you know. It is not the same hotness you are used to. It's a different heat entirely. That is the same thing as adhabun alim. It is not the same type of punishment. Which means if you can imagine the highest form of pain somebody can encompass or can experience in this world, if one can imagine it, that cannot be the first level of pain in Jannah for the Munafiq. That cannot be the first. Just like when Allah said He's going to bless you on the day of Qiyamah, the highest or the climax of blessing in this world is going to be the lowest. In fact, it cannot be compared to the lowest in Jannah. Like Allah Prophet said that the least person in Jannah is going to be given like 10 signs of this world, and that's the least. Who among these people of this world have that kind of blessing? Who? So the same thing when Allah is talking about punishment. So Allah said they are going to have adhabun alim. So if you don't understand what is meant by adhabun alim, Allah said fi darkil asfal. So and that is the hottest part. That is the place that have the highest form of heat, and nobody can save them. They don't have way out, and that is actually the heat itself. Then there are some other punishment that will follow. There are some other form of punishment. Allah said, "Fi qulubihim maradun fazadahumullahu marada." Look at that word. He said there is a disease in their hearts. Then Allah increased their disease. Just like the first in Surah An-Nisa, here Allah said Allah increased their disease. It's the same. The meaning of this verse is similar to what we just explained. That if there is a disease in your heart and you are not disturbed, you don't see it as a problem, and you don't have intention for that your disease to be cured, it is natural that the disease will increase. And this is a natural law actually. If you commit one sin, just one sin, and if you don't see it as a problem, automatically another sin will come. Automatically other sin will follow it, and it will continue like that until you become sinful. Everything about you will be sinful. But if you commit sin and you are disturbed, you are worried, you want to be forgiven, you wish you don't do it, or you wish you don't go back to it, Allah will forgive you because Allah loves that. That is what is called Tawbah actually. Tawbah is not, it doesn't start from the mouth, it starts from the heart. How do you feel after the... So committing sin is a great sin. It's a great sin actually. But the greatness is not actually the sin itself, but the state of your mind during and after the sin. That is the greatest. Like Allah mentioned about even the mu'minun, even the sahaba, even they can commit sin. Allazina idha fa'alu fahishatan aw zalamu anfusahum dhakaru Allah. So Allah is talking about the sahaba. Allah is talking about wasari'u ila maghfiratin min rabbikum wa jannatin. So Allah is talking about the mu'minun. That even when they commit fahisha, I don't know the meaning of fahisha. Fahisha means something that is outrageous. It's not even small sin. Then they remember Allah and they seek for forgiveness. They are among the people Allah loves. They are among people Allah is going to put in Jannah. So for the Munafiqun, there is a disease in their heart. And that disease, they were happy with it. They are happy that they have that kind of disease. And what's the disease actually? Nifaq. What's the disease? Nifaq. And you see, Nifaq is actually not the beginning of sin. And it's not the beginning of disease. It starts from envy. All form of sin people have been committing against Allah, either the first one in the heaven or the first one in the earth surface. The origin of all the sin or the sources of all the sin is envy, jealous. Why did the first set of people that became Munafiqun towards the Prophet Muhammad, the Mu'minun, why did they become Munafiqun? Why?
Because of wickedness.
It was let me like we mentioned the story of the first nifaq in Medina, like Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. He was about to be crowned to be made a king before the arrival of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. The arrival of the Prophet Muhammad actually that plan of his. He was not satisfied. Automatically, he became envious. He became jealous of Prophet and Muslim. So, and he observed that there is no way for him to actually becoming a king. So, and he's resentful. That resentment is still in his heart. He's not happy. It takes special grace of Allah for somebody to find himself in that kind of situation and be comfortable with it. You are a senior, you are a superior, you are the leader, you are the richest, you are ahead. Somebody now comes that is inferior to you, that is junior to you, that is lower than you, and they now say they will make it a superior above you. Do you think many people will be comfortable with that? But Allah is a test from Allah. That's a test. It's only Allah that is decision doesn't change. And that is why even the whole of this world, that is how it is. Prophet Muhammad is the last prophet. If you talk about age, it's younger than all the brothers have come. Won't it be younger? And he's the last prophet, yet is their leader. Yes, he's ahead of them. Shaitan, the only problem he has with Adam is that this person, this being is created in my presence. I was there, I have been worshipping Allah, I am knowledgeable, I have this quality, then I should cower down, I should prostrate to him. I'm not comfortable with that. How can I prostrate to him? He should be the one to prostrate. Just like all of you, including me, just like we will behave. You see, this is something that happened between Shaitan and Adam. But Allah can create circumstances like that for you. That somebody who is inferior to you or who is below you, Allah will create a situation. Allah will not send a message because you are not a prophet. He will not send an angel. But your sense should understand that this is from Allah. Allah will create a situation or circumstances that bow down for him. Respect him. Even though he's younger than you or is inferior to you, Allah will create a situation that will tell you that you should do what? If you say no, there's no difference between you and Shaitan. There's no difference between what you are doing and what Shaitan did. And there's no difference between what the Banu Israel did to Prophet. There's no difference between what Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul did to Prophet. Because that was the problem. Me, about to become king, now you come. So, when somebody that settled in a place, they are expected to be the one ruling a place. Now, they are being Medina. Prophet came after. They should be the king. The king should be from them, isn't it? No. By law of this world. But that is not the law of Allah. So you just have to follow the law. You just have to. And if you submit and become happy and satisfied with the law of Allah, wallah is just a test from Allah. Allah will raise you. Allah will raise you up. Now between angel and Adam, the angel, they bowed down for Adam or they didn't. So are they not ahead of Adam? Are they not above Adam? Yeah. Are they not superior than Adam? Yeah. So Allah is only testing you. Allah wants to see how you are submissive. Just like Allah tested the Sahaba during the change of the Qibla. Allah said the reason why we change the Qibla, we just want to test. We want to see who will be submissive. Allah wants to see whether you be submissive or you be arrogant. Arrogance is one of the nature of a human being that comes from Shaitan. So Allah said, we have been notified, our time is up. I just want to conclude this aspect. Allah said there is a disease in their heart. Then the law of Allah is that if you allow that disease to thrive in your heart, another disease will follow. So the first disease is envy and jealous. Because that disease, they did not get rid of it, then naturally, in the fact will follow. And that we are actually talking about the fact psychology, isn't it? Yes. Even among the Muslims, we can have that kind of problem. If you are jealous of somebody, and you are envious of somebody, and you don't get rid of it, wallahi, you will do nifaq to that person. It may not be nifaq psychology, but you will become you will commit hypocrisy against that person. It's not possible. Somebody you don't love, somebody you jealous, somebody you envy, you surely become what? An hypocrite to him. It's natural. So the first disease is what? Disease of envy, of jealous. Since it was not solved, it was not healed, then it is followed by what? Disease of nifaq. And disease of nifaq, every other disease will follow it. Every other what? Disease will follow it. And that is why, like we have said, the first sin that is committed are those sins. And any problem you imagine, anytime we have any problem from somewhere, we say everything from who? From Shaitan. Why is the genesis of the Shaitan problem? Envy, jealous. Later it become what? Disobedience, arrogance, rebellion against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when that first disease comes and you don't solve it, and mind you, like Ibn Taymiyyah said, he said there is no single son of Adam except if he have his own share of what? Of envy. Nobody can beat his head that in one way or at a time or the other I've never envied somebody. Envy has never passed in my heart. Nobody can beat his head. The only thing is that when the envy comes, did you allow it to sit? Or you what? Or you throw it away? Did you allow it to sit? Or you say, no, as a believer in Allah, as somebody who believes in Allah, I should not allow it. Why will I envy you? It doesn't make sense. I did not make myself what I am. Neither can I change my life. I can only work towards my goal. But it's Allah that grants efforts. So if Allah decides to do something somewhere or to somebody, nobody can stop it. Then it doesn't make any sense. And no matter how hard you work against something or system of Allah, wallah, it can never solve anything or it cannot change anything except what Allah has written down for that individual. Then how does it make sense to everyone? So if you believe in Allah, if you have Tawhid, solid and valid Tawhid, then that's your envy that Shaitan has thrown into your heart will be dissolved because you will not make any sense of it. Allah, I don't create anything. I cannot make changes. Allah is the one doing it. Allah's whatever Allah does is what is the best. So even envy come, jealous come. So it will be very easy for you to what? To eliminate it. So that is why Tawhid is actually the solution to all our problems. May Allah make it easy for us. I've been notified that our time is up. May Allah save us from the disease of Nifaq and all other disease. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So without wasting much of our time, if anyone has question, he or she can identify himself.
According to what you said during the course of presentation, that when someone falls into victim of the fact hypocrites, that it doesn't necessarily that one should declare him. That it's not necessary that it should be declared. The person should be declared as an hypocrite. What of in the case that someone, the person knew that he himself he didn't say I'm an hypocrite, but all what he did, his action is telling us that this person is an hypocrite and is in a level that whatever he said, people will follow him, like a dying person.
You see, the reason why I said declaring somebody as an hypocrite is actually a dangerous trend. There's when you say somebody is an hypocrite, and you mean he has hypocrites of his belief of his creed. What you are saying is that he's a kafir. That's what you are saying. So if you calling somebody is a fasik, kafir, munafiq, they are all related. And there's an hadith of Prophet. He said, if anybody allege or declare another person, a brother, a Muslim, as a kafir, he said one of them will actually be a kafir. If the person you call a kafir is not a kafir, then the kufr will come back to who? Back on to you. So if not for any other reason, even for the reason of what if what I'm assuming is not true, and if it is not true, it means it's coming back to me. Even with that, for that only reason, it's sufficient for somebody to be very careful in declaring another person a kafir or a munafiq. But we are not saying when you see signs of nifaq in somebody, you will notice it and you observe it, and that will direct you in how you interact or relate with that person. It will make you to be suspicious or to be watching out, but not to go to the extent of saying, you are a munafiq, you are a kafir, or to be declaring. What about if what you assume or you thought is not true? Because you have not confirmed it. And you don't say what you have to have not confirmed. That's another rule in Islam. Until something is confirmed beyond any reasonable doubt, before you say it out. Otherwise, you have to defend it before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And anything that has to do with the rights of any creature of Allah, especially living thing. If you say somebody is this and the person is not that, you must be ready to defend it. Except, yes, you must be ready. Wallah, you will defend it before Allah. That is why the way we use our tongue today, we don't even know the meaning. If you know you are not going to defend or you cannot defend it, don't even say it. And it doesn't take you anything. And to watch our tongue or to be very careful, wallah is an honorable character. But you say, you must say, you know, there are some people, they must say anything. Sometimes they want people to know, say they know everything. While they don't know anything. So because of they want people to know, say they know anything, they'll be saying everything. I know what happened there. I know what is doing. I know what is happening. I know this. When you did not see it. Even you, when you see it, it's not everything you see or you witness, you see. Prophet said, it is sufficient for somebody to be declared what? An evil person. That when you say everything, you know or you hear. So it's actually dangerous. But that does not mean when somebody is a violator, is a regular violator of Allah, and is publicizing it, and is misleading people, we can still warn people against the person. We can warn against people. But like we have said, it is always good to approach or to contact the person and let's hear from him. Probably somebody may be doing something out of mistake, out of misunderstanding, out of error, out of confusion. Then you fighting him or you attacking him or letting him, it will be an injustice. But after you have tried to establish the truth or the ujja, and the person still insists, then you can actually warn people that I know this about this person, and it's causing problem, fitna in the society. So I am notifying you to be what, to be warned, to be careful. So not because you want to destroy that person, but you fear for their what, for their deen. But don't ever have intention of destroying somebody, of harming somebody. If that's your intention, even when what you say is true, you are still sinful. Intention matters actually. And if your intention is good, it means you'll be very careful of whatever you are going to say before you even say it out. Now,
as you have said that,
okay.
Among 114 chapters that we have in the Quran, 28 verses, the names of the Munafiq are
not the name, description or quality or stories about them.
or description or story about it. So
it may not mention their name directly. You understand? Like the Surah Al-Baqarah we just mentioned now, there's no way, there's no place in Surah Al-Baqarah from beginning to the end you hear the word Munafiq. But it's talking about their description.
So that means, is there any silence?
Silence?
Yes.
Silence what?
Is there any silence? Something that we're supposed to understand? At least 28 chapters mention.
Okay, you mean the surah?
Yes.
Maybe tomorrow I will try and list them. Inshallah. No.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
I have 3 short questions.
Okay.
For someone who the second thing is a Muslim who doesn't pray and is surrounded by Muslims.
Approaching.
They feel they are not capable enough
Okay,
to approach him.
Okay.
So they approach me instead to go and talk with the brother. So I am asking that what are the best ways in approaching someone in that current condition? Although he's a Muslim and I do see him in the mosque once in a while, it's been a very long while, and their roommates and his roommates made me to understand that he doesn't pray. Even Salat Subuh, he doesn't get up for Salat. So what are the ways that the advice you can give when which I can use to approach the person? And the third one is concerning the issue of know your enemy and know your friend. In a situation whereby you put your trust in someone fully and your muamala, your engagement together has really mixed, that you even let the person know your things, you let the person know many details about you. But it's a day that the person just burst out and start arguing and start fighting with you, bringing all those details out, and then all in the name of Rahma, that Allah has command us to have Rahma. You forgive that person. You make the argument to be cool. But the question here is, can you still be close to that person as you were close before, or you should keep distance from that person? Or can you just cancel all your relationship with that person totally? What is
the first question, like you remind me the first question,
Now, a person who leaves Salat.
Okay, that neglects Salah, is he still a Muslim? Is that the question?
Now he's a Muslim. Can he be called a Munafiq?
Okay, Munafiq. Okay. So neglect of Salah may not be a reason for somebody to be called a Munafiq, but it may be a reason for somebody to be called a Kafir.
No.
You know, there's a difference between a Kafir or a Munafiq. So there's a consensus among the scholars that anybody that consciously and intentionally neglects Salah is not a Muslim. So if you neglect Siyam, but you did not argue about being a part of Islam, you are a sinner but not a Kafir. So if you neglect any other aspect of Islam, any other part of the Arkanul Islam, so and you do not argue that it's not part of Islam, you are a sinner but you are not a what? A Kafir. But if you neglect Salah, even if you do not argue that it's not part of Islam, according to the scholar, they say the person is a what? Is a Kafir. And evidence is hadith of the Prophet. Prophet said, Al-adu baynana wa baynahum faman tarakaha. So he said the difference between us and the non-Muslim, what differentiates us is what? Salah. Anybody that abandon it or neglect it, he has become a Kafir. That's why there are actually many other hadiths. So about the second person that a second question you said?
Now, the second question, the best way to avoid someone who doesn't pray.
Okay, somebody who neglect the prayer. Actually, Islam and the Quran and Hadith, they actually taught us a lot of things. When you see somebody who is violating the law of Allah, who is committing some sin, the first thing is that you should pray for that person. You should approach the person in the most merciful way, not as an enemy, not with hatred or condemnation. You understand? You should first of all thank Allah that make you to realize and understand that this is actually something that shouldn't be done. Or Allah has not made you to fall into that mistake. If you mock or you insult that person, the chances that you yourself will fall into the same mistake before you die is very high. Somebody is committing a sin. But if instead of you to correct him, you are mocking him or you are condemning him, the chances that, especially if it is mock, you don't mock anybody in any other, even a kafir, you don't mock. The chances that you will do the same thing is very high. So the first thing is that you should be merciful on that person and you should see the person as somebody who is violating mistake. Since he's a Muslim, even though he's committing a sin, even though we said can make somebody to become a kafir, but it's still your responsibility to what? To correct him. And like the hadith at the first of the Quran said, he said, Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati. So you should use the most beautiful admonition. So you speak to the person in the most beautiful way. So the first thing is actually to let the person understand the purpose of Salah and the neglect, the effect or the consequence of neglecting it. So if it is Tawhid or Iman that is lacking in that person, I think that should be the first thing. Because when some Tawhid and Iman sit in somebody's heart, it will be very difficult to be committing other sin easily. Somebody can commit sin like you have said. But to find it easy or not to be disturbed when you commit that sin will be very difficult. So if that is the problem or that is where the problem starts, I think that should be the first thing to be addressed. And nowadays, or in many other places where how people practice it, is that they emphasize some other aspect of Islam and they will belittle or they will not put more emphasis on Tawhid and Iman. And that is what needs more emphasis. If somebody Iman and Tawhid stand, you don't need to explain the remaining. He will make it a point of responsibility to do the remaining. So, but if that is not the problem, actually maybe it's like a school attitude or friend, the type of friend he keeps or somehow. So you can decide to be close to that person. Friendship or company you keep can actually make you to become sinful. Something you know is bad and you know the consequence, you know the gravity. So you can be doing it. Yet you don't, you know it. So you can keep the company of that person and your intention is to what? Is to reform the person. Is to make the person to become a what? A better Muslim. Then like you have said, you should speak to the person in the most soft manner. Let him know the consequence. Let him know the danger in this world, in the grave, and the day of Qiyamah. So if you think the person may not understand some parts, you may not go to that. You may start from where he can understand. Like somebody, like you want to tell somebody that he doesn't pray that, you are a kafir. You say, don't you know the danger of this? Don't you know what Allah said? Don't you know what the Quran said? If somebody neglects prayer, this is the danger. If you have problem in your life, some of your life, you are not having progress in it, sometimes maybe from the prayer. If you do this, you give some story of it, so the person will understand better than you say it's a kafir. But no man Muslim. So the first thing is to actually talk in the most soft manner and to let the person know about what the consequence and the danger of neglecting salah. And you can give the example of the predecessor. Somebody asked one question from some of the scholars that if you have a child and the child is sleeping and you don't want to wake the child up because you think the child he has worked the previous day and is very tired and you want to allow him to rest, you don't want to disturb him. So he says, is there any problem in that? Then the person asked the person that asked the question, he asked me a question back down. If there is a fire outbreak in that house, will you allow the child to be in that house? He said no. Why? Because you don't want him to be disrupted. Don't you know neglecting prayer or abandoning prayer is more disruptive than fire? Saying that the fire of this world, what about the fire of the Qiyamah? So we should find the best manner of approaching and informing the person so that the person will be aware. Because sometimes some people are not aware. Sometimes some people they are aware by the type of company they keep. So if that is the problem, so then we try to solve that problem. Like we said, some people know the danger. Some people even know better than you that you want to say it. So maybe their problem is their company or their background or the society or whatever. So you solve the problem from there. Because not that they don't even know what you are saying. But if the people that doesn't know, then we should educate them. We should let them know that this is the problem or danger of what they are doing. So, and the third question, you said
someone who you've opened up.
So somebody that doesn't have amana or that can say that kind of thing is actually a problematic woman Islamically. That is a very dangerous characteristic. No matter the problem you have with somebody, no matter, you should not let out a secret that is with you. Allah is the one that protects us. You see, anything you do in secret, Allah has ability to expose it anytime, anywhere. If it is not exposed, it's because Allah doesn't want it to expose. And you know, Allah loves to conceal our blemish. Allah loves to protect our secrets than any other thing. So anybody that exposes people's secret, Allah will expose his own secret, even in his own house. And like Azeez of the Prophet, if you protect people, if you conceal people's faults in this world, Allah will conceal the faults on the day of Qiyamah. So anybody that doesn't see it as a problem to reveal people's faults, especially, and that is the best time to know your nature. You see, when we are good friends, when we enjoy ourselves, so you keep it my secret, I may not know your reality. It is when we have problem, when I have problem with you. Because if you are a person that I see that as an opportunity to attack me, that's the only way you can attack your enemy, to expose a secret. It means you are a dangerous human being. So that such a person doesn't have amana. In the first place, you are not supposed to be keeping secret in that person. And if somebody has made that mistake of doing so, it means subsequently you should not do it. And as a Muslim, as long as the person is still a Muslim, by himself, he says he's still a Muslim, and by one explanation, even if he's not a Muslim, it's our responsibility to invite him to Islam, to correct him. But we shouldn't keep our secret with him again. We shouldn't keep such kind of details with him. Something that if some people are aware, people get to know about it, you will not be disturbed. You can let him know. But something that you will not be comfortable letting people know, you shouldn't be exposed to that kind of person. But you may not actually need to cut your relationship with him. Since he's still a Muslim, even if it's not a Muslim, it's somebody that has a potential of being a Muslim or becoming a better Muslim, you have the responsibility to take up that, to correct him, or to invite him, or to reform him, or to make him a better Muslim. It's our responsibility. So there's nothing wrong in keeping our relation with him, but we should be very careful in keeping our secret or exposing our secret to him. Since he has done what he did, and we have seen the type of person he is. So it may actually be he has problems from other area. But by our nature, somebody who has done something wrong to you at a particular time, you will never feel comfortable or secured from that person's danger again. And that is what we don't know. So if you have breached a trust somebody have in you or keep with you, if you have breached it, to have that trust back, Allah, is a very difficult thing. It's a very difficult. How can you tell the person, I'm no more like that, I cannot do that thing? I will not trust you now. Because even the first time I thought you are trustworthy, but I've discovered you are not trustworthy. So the best thing is to not ever allow that kind of thing to be breached. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Amen.
سبحانك وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك.